What's going on, you guys, and welcome back to What Shall We Do Next. And today I'm coming back at you with another childhood love story. So come on over and sit on Mikey Moo Moo's lap, because I'm about to hit you with the beautiful tale of a girl named Lizzie. I've been thinking about this for a couple of weeks since I made that video on the Numa Numa song being completely milked for all it's worth, and I've been thinking about it ever since, because the Numa Numa song was kind of popping around the time this happened. I was around 13 years old. This took place in about 2005. I also have this here, which I'm not going to read it to you. It's a story that I wrote, and the reason I'm going to call this one my Runaway Love Story, or something like that. That's what this video is going to be titled. I wrote a story about Lizzie and how we planned to run away together. Now, since I was a kid, I've always had this fantasy of like running away with a girl. I don't know what it is, but I think it's the most romantic thing ever, and I've always wanted to do it, and I never have. I think I even mentioned it to you guys in the childhood love story about Kelly, if you remember that one. I think that was one of the first ones I did. I was probably like 12 with her. This was a little before, maybe 11, 12, but I really wanted to like run away with her. I used to fantasize about that a lot. That was around the same time when Not Gonna Get Us came out by Tattoo, and I feel like that's why that song still to this day means so much to me, and that is like my favorite song by them. They were basically doing what I always fantasized it would be like. It wouldn't be this like beautiful experience running away. I knew it would be very hard and very scary. You're going to encounter a lot of things that you don't want to encounter, especially at that age, and then you have to deal with things like the elements. It's going to be like in Tattoos, Not Gonna Get Us, it's going to be very cold and snowy. You're going to run into problems with the law. There's going to be police looking out for you. There's going to be, I don't know, like a desperation for like food, shelter. You're going to need that stuff, and I was aware of that. I knew it wouldn't just be as simple as running away and living happily ever after, but I still think it was really romantic, and I really wanted to do it. And Lizzie was one of those girls that I wanted to run away with, and I wrote a story about it, about how we planned to run away together. But first, I'll tell you the story on Lizzie herself and how I met her. I was actually friends with one of my best friends from school. He went on vacation, and he actually met her on vacation. She was like a vacation friend that he had met, and he had her on MSN, and they would talk, and then they got into a fight, and then she invited her friend, her name was Beth. She invited her into like a group chat. I can't remember what they used to call it on MSN, but it was like a group where you could all be in the group together, like a chat. And he invited me to basically come and like fight with these two girls. But actually the opposite happened. I became friends with them. They weren't like seriously fighting. I guess they were just being kind of like teenagers, I guess, like bullying each other. I can't even really remember what the fighting was over, but we ended up like adding them, and I became close to both of them. And of course, like my best friend, like he had made up with them as well. I became very close to both of them, Lizzie and Beth. But after a while of talking to Lizzie, I started to develop feelings. And Beth had told me that Lizzie had also started to develop feelings for me, and she was beautiful. I remember exactly how she looked in her little MSN profile picture. I can't even remember what that's called. She was wearing a greenish, like a dark green denim jacket, and she had this long blonde hair, and she was beautiful, like strawberry blonde. It wasn't quite blonde, but it was like a reddish blonde, and she was just beautiful. But there was just one problem. She lived about 150 miles away from me, so we couldn't really see each other. There really wasn't any way for us to see each other, especially at that age. We did exchange addresses, and I did write her a love letter, and I sent it to her in the mail, and she received it. And there is two songs that remind me of that period, and one of them is the Numa Numa song, which is kind of funny because it's like a goofy song. And of course it's Romanian too, so like I couldn't understand it, but it reminds me of her. Another song that I was pretty obsessed with at that time was Wycliffe Jean, Perfect Gentleman. I don't know if you guys remember that. Still to this day, that's a bop. But I would talk all night to Lizzie on MSN, on the computer, the big computer that you had back then. Couldn't stop thinking about her. I was longing for her, until one day I decided I've had enough. I can't wait any longer. I think we should run away together. So I wrote this story. I'm not going to read it to you. There's only one I've had this since 2005. This is a story that I wrote on lined paper, and I put it in this like one of those things just to keep it safe. It's got a little more discolored over the years. It's turning a little grayish yellow around the edges, but it's still in pretty good condition considering it's like, what, almost 20 years old. Wait, that's not right. That can't be possible. Oh my fucking god, it's possible. It is. It's true. Oh, that's fucking sickening. I just realized 20 years ago that was. That's cray-cray. And I just said the word cray-cray, which is so 2009. But anyway, I'm not going to read this because it's kind of goofy and a little silly. And I did take a lot of inspiration from the movie Stand By Me. I think that's where I got my obsession with running away, because I imagined it to be kind of like that. Like, if I were to run away, we would walk on the train tracks because you're so isolated. There's nobody around for miles, and you're not going to see any cars, people, buildings, anything like that. So I imagined it to be kind of like that. So I wrote the story of how me and Lizzie were planning to run away, and we kind of pulled a Stand By Me stunt too. I had told my mom that I was going on a school trip, and that I would need a little money, and I will be back at the end of the week. It was going to be like a week-long trip. And she was also telling her parents the same thing. And I got one of my friends to come with me, the guy who knows Lizzie, and she got Beth to come with her. And we were all going to arrange to like lie to our parents that we're going on a school trip, but we're actually just going to follow the train tracks and meet each other halfway. Keep in mind, I didn't know how far 150 miles was back then, so just keep in mind, this is like a 12, 13-year-old's brain. But we were just so desperate to see each other. But yeah, I thought I'll show you guys, but I'm not gonna let you read any of it because it's so fucking cringe and embarrassing. There's only been one person who's ever read this. Well, I actually read it to her, and it was my little sister. And yeah, I said to her, like, you're the first person in like almost 20 years that's ever read this. But yeah, in the story, me and Lizzie ran away to meet each other halfway. And I did write it in the same kind of style as Stand By Me. We were walking on the train tracks, me and my friend, her and Beth were walking on the train tracks in the opposite direction so we could meet halfway. And we did eventually meet, and I was writing it exactly how I imagined it would be. It would be like a stormy, rainy night. We didn't plan properly. We didn't have enough food. We were running out of food, me and my friend. Didn't have much money. We were questioning turning back. We were like, have we fucked up here? It's getting dark and scary out here in these woods. Maybe we should go back, but how do we do that without getting in trouble? We've already told our parents that we're going on a school trip. So I really went deep in this. I feel like I could rewrite it someday, but obviously a lot more grammatically correct and everything like that. But I'm gonna spoil the ending for you. Me and Lizzie did eventually meet, and it was a beautiful moment. We both had cell phones. There was no such thing as Snapchat or anything back then. You used to have to dial numbers with buttons to make a call. We couldn't even pitch our tent because it was so rainy one night, so we decided we can't sleep in this rain, we're gonna have to just keep walking. And we walked through the night in a stormy, dark night, and Lizzie and Beth also did the same thing. And eventually we came to a small opening in the forest where we could see a small town. There were street lights and stuff like that, so we could just see like buildings, everything's quiet, not a single car to be seen, not a single person. And I saw two girls. And I thought, okay, we're gonna stop off at this small town, and I will call Lizzie to let her know. And she said, oh, that's funny, me and Beth have also stumbled upon a small town, and we're thinking about sticking around here for the night. But I noticed as I was on the phone to Lizzie, the girl on the other side of the street in the middle of the night in the rain was also on the phone. And I was like, huh, that's weird. And then it occurred to me, it was Lizzie. And so I yelled, Lizzie! I'm gonna cry. She turned around, we both looked at each other, and we ran toward each other, and we just gave each other a hug, and hugged in the rain for, I did write the duration of time. It was a while, and we were hugging in the rain. I think we kissed. I'm not too sure about that, but I think so. And then I kind of ended the story with, from that moment forward, me and Lizzie were inseparable. We were together every single day for the rest of our lives. Like, how did that happen? Did we get jobs? Like, where did we live? How did that happen? Like, did our parents not send a search party looking for us? Of course, like, a 13-year-old's brain isn't that intelligent enough to kind of work that stuff out. But that's the way the story went, so... It's a beautiful story. And it's kind of funny because even though it's been so long, I still am friends with Lizzie on Facebook to this day. And although we never talk, we haven't talked, I don't even know if she remembers me, honestly. But yeah, that's one of those stories that's kind of always I've held near and dear to me. Just a precious little innocent, wholesome childhood memory. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. Smash a like on it if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you right back here in the next one. Peace out and chase your dreams.